Hello. Good afternoon. Another Monday. And here it is rather windy and damp. Mm, The sun's going down. It was a sunny day mm, on the outside. Not so much around here, but definitely on the outside. It's good to see everybody. I've got a couple of cases today that I want to do some brief updates on. If you saw the thumbnail, you know it's on Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell again. And we've got some update on Kohberger from the Idaho Moscow murders, and also on Alex Murdaugh, from South Carolina. Um, yeah, there's a little bit going on each one, and just we'll just get right to it. The first one I'd like to go over, if it's okay with you guys, is Kohberger. Um, he is the suspect arrested in Pennsylvania at his parents' home, Bryan Kohberger, for the murder of the four university students in Moscow, Idaho. A very heart wrenching case. Four young people gone. Uh, they believe they have probable cause. We read the probable cause affidavit at the last update with Kohberger. So we went over some of the evidence that they think they have. We're talking about a lot of phone records, a lot of pinging of towers, a lot of placing the phone inside a white Elantra, a vehicle that's been known to be right there in the area at the time. Um, they they have DNA on the sheet of a gun of a knife uh, that was typed to match what they said was to be discarded trash from the home of the parents, which matched to the father as a familial. And so then they were able to match because of the registration of the white Elantra in the phone records that they received. They were able to match everything to Bryan Christopher Kohberger. He was then extradited from Pennsylvania to Idaho without contest. Remember, he didn't contest it. He went willingly after his arrest, and he's been in Idaho. He's had his second hearing on on Tuesday. Okay, the first hearing was just to hear the charges, and we played a little of that, and you probably saw that all over YouTube and all over the social medias. That he, was just read his charges, and he was remanded into custody. He was told the charges against him. They were read out. They told probably what would happen. He received a public defender that he's been speaking with, who's been with him. And then he was set to have the trial again on the 12th. Okay. And that some people were reporting that that was supposed to be when he pled, but let it be known that he did not. That was not what it was. There is going to be another hearing for that shortly. And I'm sorry, my internet is like going yellow, so I'm not sure if 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 there is it's actually coming through clear. Let me know in the chat if I'm breaking up, please. Um, I'm not so sure that this. My apologies. It's not. Is it coming through? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Cassandra. I appreciate it. On this end, it's looking quite crazy. But thank you. Thanks for letting me know. And thank you, mods who are here. I appreciate you being here. Um, okay, so the public defender for Bryan Kohberger attended the hearing with him. And let me just one thing I want to note, they're talking about it all over the place. As you'll see in the picture here, Bryan has now scratches all over his face. It's being reported through the sheriff's department that they're saying it could possibly be from shaving. There's been no altercations that have been documented or reported. It's pretty close lips. Okay. And So everybody was making wild speculations on what they could be. Some people are just saying simply it could just be that the razors that they give you to shave, he wanted to be clean shaven like he always is, are quite dull, and they give them to you. You have to rush. They wait for you to finish, and then they take them back. You're not allowed to be alone with them. So I mean, it could just be nerves. It could just be, anything. It's it's really not the type of injuries that they are quite small there, and there's just like I was saying in the last update on Kohberger, there's so much speculation and just rumor and ridiculousness out there in regards to this that it is just, sometimes it's a little hard to take. So when I see something like this, like I don't really want to make a big deal of it. But anyway, let me just play the hearing for you so you can see.
This is cause number CR 292205 Idaho. Recall when I advised you of your rights. Like a preliminary hearing, it does not mean that you have a preliminary hearing. It simply means that you would not be able to come back and challenge that the state did not present probable cause within 14 days. Do you understand?
Yes.
Have you had enough time to speak with Ms. Taylor about your decision to waive your right to a speedy preliminary hearing?
Yes.
Do you need any additional time to do so?
No.
Then I will ask at this time. We will go ahead and set the matter for preliminary hearing. Right, good morning. We are on the record. This is cause number CR 29222805. This is State of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. Mr. Kohberger is in custody. He is appearing here in court with his attorneys, Ms. Taylor, Mr. Logston, Mr. Thompson, Ms. Jennings appearing on behalf of the state. This is the time set in the matter for the preliminary hearing status conference. So I am going to inquire of counsel. Ms. Taylor, what's the status at this time?
Thank you, Your Honor. We are going to ask the court to set preliminary hearing out into June. We would request the 3rd or 4th week of June and probably 4 or 5 days for preliminary. Mr. Kohberger understands his right to a timely preliminary hearing, is willing to waive the timeliness to allow us time to obtain discovery in this case and be prepared.
And Mr. Thompson, are you in agreement with that?
The state has no objection to that, Your Honor. And Ms. Taylor reached out to us by email yesterday with her proposal. On reflection, the state's calendar would be better in the month of July, but we will make the end of June work if that's the court's preference. And I haven't had a chance to talk to Ms. Taylor about that. I'm sorry, I know that's last minute.
That's okay. The court's calendar is going to be better at the end of June, early July. So would that work, Ms. Taylor, for your scheduling or other matters?
Yes, if we take that 4th week in June, that's actually best.
Okay. So, Mr. Kohberger, I need to speak to you for a moment then. Sir, you do understand, and Ms. Taylor has represented here, that she's advised you of your right to have, or fully discussed with you, the right that you have, which is to have your preliminary hearing within 14 days of the date that you initially appeared before this court. As you recall, when I advised you of your rights, that hearing is a probable cause hearing, or the state has to establish that more likely than not, these felony offenses were committed and you were the one that committed the felony offenses. If you waive your right to a speedy preliminary hearing, it does not mean that you're giving up your right to have a preliminary hearing. It simply means that you would not be able to come back and challenge that the state did not present probable cause within 14 days. Do you understand? Have you had enough time to speak with Ms. Taylor about your decision to waive your right to a speedy preliminary hearing?
Yes.
Do you need any additional time to do so?
No.
Then I will ask at this time, as to the 5 counts, felony counts that were charged in the criminal complaint that was filed on December 29th of 2022, are you waiving your right to a speedy preliminary hearing and agreeing that that hearing can be held outside the 14-day period?
Yes.
And Ms. Taylor, do you concur with his waiver?
I do, Your Honor. Thank you.
I will find your waiver of speedy preliminary hearing is knowing, intelligently, voluntarily entered here in open court with the assistance of counsel. We will go ahead and set the matter for preliminary hearing. Beginning Monday, June 26th at 9:00 a.m. And I will go ahead and reserve the week, so June 26th to June 30th, in the event that we need all 5 days for presentation of evidence. And just so council knows, it will begin at 9 a.m. each of those days. Is there anything further to address at this time in the case, Mr. Thompson?
Not from the state's perspective, Your Honor, no.
All right. Or Ms. Taylor?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Kohberger, then you will be remanded into custody on your same no bail at this point in time, pending further proceedings. Again, we'll send notice out to council and we will be in recess for this morning.
Okay, so hopefully that played all the way through for you this time. And the rest of the update is, as you see, there's going to be another date. He did not plead, whether guilty or not. He is remanded without bail. He is satisfied with his counsel. And there's going to be a trial. We're going to go forward. So everything starts from here. I'm showing you again the house. There's been some more evidence that has come up currently. They're saying that this possible picture that has been captured may be evidence of the white Elantra returning to the scene of the crime at around 9 a.m. or so that morning after the murder, so which had occurred between 4 and 5 o'clock. Okay. Yes, thank you, Mrs. Cassandra. I'm glad it finally did. And thank you, everybody. There's always going to be some type of technical difficulty here, there, or whatever. Rather than just cancel the whole stream, I went forth and just tried to fix it. So I do appreciate your patience while I work that out. I currently do not have a keyboard working, and we're going to keep trying to work on that. Is like, that's why I'm not chatting and saying hello to you in the chats, as I usually do. So it's nothing personal, everybody, just not getting it to work very well. Okay, so do you see that picture there? That does look like a white vehicle. They have not confirmed yet through how they do all of their checking and everything like that with the forensics, and they get the experts to match up the body type of the vehicle and look and see if they can find any plate numbers on it and all of that. They haven't come back with any of that yet, but this is being reported out there as possible. It's not entered into evidence, of course, as of yet. This is just all through the media currently. Okay. What also I do have, let's see if I can get this one to come up now. This is a picture. This is not the weapon. This is what is listed in the probable cause affidavit for arrest, okay, as to the type of sheath that they found, and that's the kind of knife that goes in it. That button that you see up there, that snap, that is where they are saying on where I think the sheath that the knife goes in, that is where they are saying they found the DNA. As I read the report, that's what it's saying. It's possibly, but yes, Mrs. Cassandra, thank you. She says, so no weapon found yet. Nope, they only have the sheath in evidence as of right now. Okay. One thing is certain, the state of Idaho isn't about to take the death penalty off of the table in exchange for a full confession. The crime was too heinous. Yes, there has been no talk of that at all. But yes, it's a death penalty state. He's aware that the actual found guilty of these charges can result in the death penalty going forth. All options for negotiation are open still. This is just started, but there has been, I agree, Renee and me, that there is great outcry in the community and everywhere because of the heinousness of the crime. Remember, they had not had a murder in 7 years. It is a college town. Almost all of a lot of transient residents for the college there, a lot of rentals, a lot of young people. They had just, once the arrest happened, students were just getting back, like right afterwards. It was like a day or two afterwards, the students were going back to the college. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what that means, turtle moves, but usually, I value all opinion. I just, when it comes to this stuff, in regards to the evidence in such a heinous crime, I mean, I'm covering a couple of them, right? I mean, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, those are children that they're being charged with murdering. Alex Murdaugh is being charged with murdering his wife and his son. These are all like heinous crimes, But the important thing to do is to look at the evidence, and you've got to give them their day in court, regardless of how we feel. Of course, we don't want to disregard the victims, okay? We feel for them, okay? Madison and Kaylee, okay? And Zina and Mr. Champion, we feel for all of them, okay? We really do. But we got to have a fair trial. We have to try to keep our wits about us and let it go through, because we want the right person tried. We want the right person convicted. We want the guilty party to be the one that pays for the crime, so true justice is done. And that's why the process is to like be the way it is. That's why their rights can't be violated, and that's why we have to just like keep it kind of cool. And what I've been seeing so much lately with the speculation has really been making me crazy. There are currently videos out there talking about, is he going to use a mental health defense? Is he going to do this? Talking to people from his past, talking to all kinds of things, speculating because of the type of studies that he did. And it's all juicy and it's all great, but it's also all could not really have anything to do with it. We want to make sure we have the right person. Yes, they have a lot of circumstantial evidence. What we don't have yet is motive. What we don't have is any connection to for Bryan Kohberger with any of the victims. Okay. There's lawsuits going on with people on TikTok and YouTube that are just giving out false scenarios on what the crime is, and actually accusing other people, other professors, in just making like wild, damaging claims to other people. That kind of stuff, I just can't. I just can't. So when I say like I welcome your opinion, let's just be reasonable about it, just a little bit. I understand how upsetting uh this particular one is. These people, the victims were so young. They were so young. I get it. And lives snuffed out. And if he did do it, like why? I understand like the turmoil everybody is feeling in regards to it. Excuse me. Believe me, I do too. But I just don't want to be out here um with great speculation. Yes, well, I'll give my opinion about the things I see. Yes, I do. But I just don't want to be out here with clear speculation, drama, uh, just feeding into it. I'd really like it to just calm down a little bit. And I know that's difficult. And that might not be why you're here. Maybe you want it to be a little more exciting. So I'm sorry to disappoint you. But I just definitely want to stick to what we actually know about everything. And that's not for me. That's just for my respect for the system itself. When I tell you I'm like a legal nerd, I am. I love reading those briefs. I love the process. I know it's not perfect. It's not. Okay. It's definitely not perfect. But it's the one we have. And I want to see it, try to keep within the realms of letting it work the best that they can. And Sleet, hello, welcome. Zero murder towns and villages are a blessing. It's a shame to tarnish that reputation for any town. Exactly. And they were just so taken surprise. There's such an outcry. And in such an over the top way as in this case. Yes, we're not talking just one murder. We're talking just like a break in, and 4 young lives are gone. And the lives of the 2 survivors are being greatly affected. I mean, that one young girl who was part of the affidavit, they actually searched her initials. They figured out who she was. They plastered her name everywhere. She's getting hounded when she goes to get coffee. People are posting horrible things about her. Um, eh, just stop. Like, who are we? Can you not put yourself in that poor girl's shoes? The people that are attacking her, that she should have did this and she should have did that, trying to put more blame on her than any survivor of such a horrendous crime would feel anyway. Like, doesn't she have a big enough burden right now? Seriously. It sickens me. And if you hear it in my voice, it's because it's real. I am sickened by it. to the point that I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to cover this all the way to trial. Not because of whether Bryan Kohberger deserves a fair trial or that I want justice for the victims. Of course, I want both of those things. But I don't want to be exposed to all this damn toxicity that's going on in the media, on Twitter, even in the YouTube chats, on other channels about this. The way that they are attacking people. There are people that have the last name of Kohberger or Gonzalez who are actually being attacked back and forth everywhere just because they have a name similar, as if they were a relative. Like, come on, like it's crazy. When I say it's a little over the top, it seriously is. And I cover Johnny Depp. That was extreme. Okay. And I cover Marilyn Manson. There's a lot of like fans on there that will come at you too and everything like that. But they're not going for the individuals that much. You know what I mean? Like these are horrendous, big celebrity type trials, in cases. And they don't even have the distastefulness of what I'm seeing in this particular one with Kohberger. It it's like everybody's ramped up. It's like 2023 is the year of like let's just go way over the top, and it's only a couple of weeks in. I just hope to see that it gets turned around. Um, you know, Renee Amin says, yeah, that TikTok tarot card reader who was continually pointing the finger at the University of Idaho professor is full-blown nuts. I hope she gets sued to the max. She is currently being sued and she didn't stop. She's the talk of quite a few legal channels right now. I am glad that university professor she went right to legal. She's filed that lawsuit right on her. She's trying to shut it down. But that woman is crazy. She continued after she got sick. I don't understand her. You know. Yep. I understand, Tony. Like we can understand her confusion. And we're talking about this one of the survivors who witnessed, who in the affidavit stated she witnessed a man walking out. Okay, these are college students. There's people in and out of the house. You remember what it was like when you all lived together in a community? If you did, 4 or 5 people together, you don't know exactly who your roommate has over. They may have had parties on regular. It was the weekend. They were all out at parties or going out to bars, I think it was, or a cafe, several of them. So, you don't always know everybody who's going to be there. I can understand why she was like trying to check out the noise, but not exactly registering that it may be a true intruder. Okay. And I know people come at me for that, but I'm like, I want to give her a little grace. I think she deserves that. After all, she came forward with the information willingly and everything. And she's putting herself on the line to embarrassment, ridicule, harassment of like no other end. The people in that town are being ridiculous because they're so upset. Because they're so upset. They're actually causing more hurt and causing more pain to their own, to her who lives there. Like, I really, her in particular right now, I feel for when I saw some of the posts that were coming through. Okay. It is just ridiculous. The survivor is also a victim of this tragedy, whether you want to believe it or not. The 2 girls that did not get murdered on the same night in the same house, just sleeping in their beds, just like everybody else. Those survivors are victims also. They may not be dead, but they are clearly victims. They are traumatized. This is something that's going to be with them for the rest of their lives. And the people that are going at them for this, just shame on them. Just shame on them. Hello, Tina. Welcome. Much less blame people with similar. I know it's just dumb, right? Like people get a damn hobby. I mean, stamp collecting used to be a thing. That'd be better for your soul than the bullshit you're doing now. I mean, be a nerd. Pick up a damn book. Watch a show on TV. But leave these innocent people alone. I mean, the people that get triggered and bothered by this stuff and just actually make it their mission to go out and attack people that aren't doing a damn thing to you. Okay, they got enough to deal with. Like, really, seriously, it's mirror time, people. Take a damn look at yourselves. Seriously. Like, you may not think that it's evident or it's obvious, but we all see it. You're out of your minds. You're out of your minds, and you're just causing more hurt. And is that what you want to be known for? Put more hurt. It's bad enough that the murders happen. It's bad enough that we're in a process of trying to find out if this person actually did it and can be prosecuted for it. But you got to put more hurt on the families. You got to put more hurt on the town, on the survivors, on everybody else. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The turtle moves. What was she supposed to do? It was the middle of the night. She probably wasn't thinking. Exactly. And they're young. And obviously, she's heard noises like this before, that they've woken her up before. It seemed almost to me like she was going through the motions of what she normally does. She just needs to find out what it is so she could go back to sleep. Okay. Just like enough, And also, it could be the other. She's terrified. Who knows? Exactly. And yes, hey, MJ, I understand this. Survivor's guilt is a lifetime of hell. They've got a lot of nerve putting more on her. They do. But anyway, that's my update on Kohberger. We don't know what his defense is going to be. We do know that he's cooperating. He did seem to have a good grasp on what was going on. There's a lot of speculation on body language and this and that, on like he's too composed, and then somebody else says he looks too upset. Um, be careful. Be careful. I'm not going to tell you not to consume the content that's out there, because I'm sure everybody is absolutely fascinated by it. So, do what you got to do, but take a grain of salt, okay? If you can, just of anything you take from my portion of the update here on Bryan Kohberger's case for the Idaho murders, you take a grain of salt on everything that you hear, and try to have a little respect and grace for those that are still here, the families, the survivors. Bryan Kohberger has a family too, okay? And he's not tried or convicted yet, okay? He's a human being. Even if he's guilty, he's a seriously flawed human being, but he's still a human being. So how you're acting right now, that's on all of us, okay? Take responsibility, take responsibility for our behaviors, and let's not act out like that, okay? Anyway, one last comment before we move on to the next subject. We've all been there. Strange night noises. First question is one sleepy brain. Do I need to worry about this or go back to bed, especially in a shared house? Thank you, Sleep. Exactly my point. I've been in a house with roommates. They're noisy. They have guests I don't know about. I can't keep track of the love life. I'm in my 20s. I'm going to be keeping track of the love life of all the 20-year-olds around me. Who's got time for that? I don't know who's coming and going. I don't know if they're having a party. I don't even know if that was the food delivery guy that she had to run in and get change or something, or there was a big delivery. Who knows? I have no idea, right? I'm just trying to figure out where the noise came from and go back to sleep. I get that. I do get that. That's where it would be for me. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about, this is Ty Lee and JJ. Okay, we're going to talk about Lori Vallow and DayBell. I'm sorry. A little bit of passion going on me, and the frustration of the technological difficulties today, and just being overwhelmed by what I was seeing all over Twitter and social media today. I'll admit it, I don't like Mondays, and this is not one of my favorite ones anyway. This has been a rough one. So I apologize. And I'm going to misspeak and stutter, but I'm just going to get it out. JJ and Ty Lee, these are the victims in the case we're going to cover next. This is about Lori Vallow and Chad DayBell, who are also being tried in Idaho. Okay. And as we know, Idaho, and this is relevant to Kohberger too, there is no insanity plea. There is an insanity defense. Like, you can add insanity as to a reason in there, but you're not going to have a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. It does not exist in Idaho that way. Okay, so that's not going to come forward. Lori Vallow has agreed not to use her mental health as anything to do with the reasoning in her defense. However, she has put forth an alibi, and she says she was with two other people, and possibly Chad DayBell at the time that the children were murdered. Okay. And she also said that she could possibly have been involved in the murder of Chad Daybell's wife. Okay. Because of the same thing. Like she had other people with her. Now, we must be clear here. Lori Vallow's not being charged with the murder. She's being charged with conspiracy to commit those murders. Yes. Like we want her for the conspiracy too. We know she has something to do with it. Idaho's going at her strong for that, including these she's basically saying that at the time of the murder, JJ and Ty Lee were with Alex Cox, her brother, basically. Okay, and it's rather convenient for an alibi that Alex Cox is no longer with us. He's dead. He can't defend himself. Okay. The other very interesting part that came up, motions were filed by Lori Vallow's attorneys to have the court allow for a meeting of Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow. I found it quite interesting that they have not talked since last July. They have had no contact really since their arrest in 2020. It's been really kind of crazy. They have not been able to, it appears they have not had conversations or been able to meet since they have been, indicted and charged. They are, I believe, married still, and their defense is kind of, their trials are still hooked together. And Lori Vallow's attorneys are actually asking that they be allowed to meet Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell to have conversations to work on a mutual defense, settlements, statements, and etc. Okay, so it's not clear. That could mean anything. That could mean Lori Vallow's thinking about giving a statement of confession or working with the prosecution. It could mean Chad Daybell is, and she's trying to find out what's going on the other side. It could just be that because they're married and they're facing this together, that they want to just say, hey, what's the best way to present what really happened? Hopefully that, of all of the scenarios, hopefully for me, I'm hoping that's it. That Lori Vallow is pushing to get together with Chad Daybell so they could say, let's just tell them exactly what happened and let's get this over with. Wouldn't that be lovely? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that just cut through all of it? Okay. There's going to be some more motion hearings coming up that are going to tell us like whether or not that's going to be able to happen. There are links to the Idaho case documents for Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. Okay, and I apologize for the condition of my links today. They're not very good down there. They're not very good. They will get fixed after the stream. And again, I'll put that Idaho government stream down there so you can find the actual documents. And if you're interested in it, you can actually read the motion that her attorneys put forward. They're like, it was quite interesting. There is an alibi being presented. And also there's a request to meet with the other side, the other defendants, and get everything done together. To have a conversation about possible settlements and defenses and evidence and all kinds of things. Like I said, wouldn't it be nice if it's like, let's just get together and tell them what happened? That would be justice, right? That would be justice. But I'm not going to hold my breath. Okay. Let me just check the chat for some questions on Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. Currently, the trial is still together and still going forward. And there goes my system going yellow again. Okay, this I do believe it's April of 2023 that they've got it was April 3rd, okay? And it's supposed to go 10 weeks. That's what they had cited. Now that date came forward in December, and I'm not finding a new one. But again, anything could have happened. I didn't check the legals this morning. But as far as this goes right now, with no motion to move it anywhere else, I will tell you that Lori Vallow her side is saying they'll be ready. Chad Daybell's side is still requesting the court to give them more time. Remember, they still put a motion forward to be removed for best alibi from, to have separate trials. They still have motions. They're still pushing for that. And also this Judge Boyce, also is the one who will not allow cameras into the court. You can go to the court in Idaho and you can attend it, but you can't have, there's going to be no live feed of this at all. Okay. Based on twice now, Lori Vallow has actually gone in for mental health evaluations. Her playing up of the camera, the way that was reporting, all of that contributed to Judge Boyce's decision. And there's quite contention about it. Some of us think that's a good thing. I think it's good to protect so there's no mistrial in Lori Vallow being able to use it, that she was persecuted for her mental health because of it. That would be a good thing. But also the right to be able to see it, the heinousness, as you all we all need to remember the horribleness of the crime. Children who didn't deserve to die, justice for the families. Okay, they want to see it, and they want them shown for who they are, and people want to know the evidence, and they want to see what happened. They want to know about it. I assure you, even though there's no cameras in that courtroom, we're going to hear what happened daily, almost every day. This is a hot case. There will be updates from everybody, including myself out there, whether the cameras are in there or not. But right now it's still scheduled for April, and I believe it's the 3rd. But we'll see. There's still plenty of motions to be heard. There's going to be another hearing before then soon. Okay. Check. Okay, I don't see any questions in regards to Lori DayBell. So on that, all right. So the last part that I have for you today, sleep. Oh, there is a question. Does it apply to audio recording? There's no live feed to the court, is what it means. I do believe that a larger news network or a channel like Law and Crime can petition the court to come in and make certain recordings and stuff like that, and they may actually get like parameters. That's happened before in other cases, but I don't know if anybody's been approved at this time. I'm not sure. I know that no devices are going to be let in from the spectators that they let on the benches, that you would be able to do that. Like, you're not going to be able to make a recording. Has anyone seen the person who called in and was the mother of the kids who went over to the apartment before the cops? Roy, you're speaking of the friend, okay? The one who is that are you speaking of the one that Lori Vallow said that's where JJ was? Like, he was over with her, and then when they contacted her, she said, no, he's not. Okay. And then it was the grandparents that actually alerted them that they weren't allowed to, like, they kept asking to see the children and where they were, and no one was getting anything. Okay. Oh, you mean on Kohberger? I'm not aware of this. I thought that the girls woke up later, Roy, and I thought they were the ones who made the 911 call. I will have to investigate that and get back to you. And I promise, once I find a little bit more about it, I will actually put a comment on this video and actually put it on my community tab. Okay, because I'm not familiar with that. That's something I have to check out. An actual person called in and was the mother of the kids who went over to the apartment before the cop. So one of their mothers came to the apartment, the house. It wasn't an apartment. Kohberger was a rental home. Thank you. The link won't probably drop. You may have to DM it to me, Roy. I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram. Everything's on my about page. You can send me anything you want, but I don't think you're going to be able to drop a link. I don't think it lets you. Oh, friends were invited over before the cops came. Yes, I did hear a little bit about that, but that's not being mentioned from a I have to look and see if that's coming from the sheriff's department now, if they have confirmed all of that first, because I don't report on anything that hasn't actually been checked by them first. Like, I know friends were talking and family were talking and everybody was making all those claims, but you'll note I don't like do those. But thank you. I definitely, and it is confirmed. Great, great. I will definitely get it in the next one, and I'll make sure I get it on the community tab. Thank you so much. And if you could hit me up in DMs, they checked out all of the names. Okay. And so they don't believe that they have anything to do with it, is basically what you're saying, I guess. All right. We'll bring just shoot me that link in private DM and I'll definitely get that to be part of it. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Hello, Crazy Cat. And Dr. Nimrod. Okay. So the next one. Thank you. Thank you so much. So the next one I have is, of course, we're going to talk about Alex Murdaugh a little bit. You know, there's a little bit going on with that. Basically, Alex Murdaugh, the last time we talked, the prosecution had put down what they thought was the motive, that Alex was trying to skate away on all of these financial indictments that he had. He didn't want all of this stuff to come up. Like, he knew his house of cards financially in that circle of terribleness that he had going on was coming to an end, and he was trying to delay it out. There's been another recent development that happened. Now, this case is going forward. This is also going to be, so far, this is a closed case in this case room in Colleton County in South Carolina. It is going to be open to the public, to go in and see, but there's not going to be a live feed that we can see so far. Okay, I'm not going to say there's not one's going to pop up, but I've been looking everywhere with how that's going to be, and the reporting is that no, it's not going to be. We also reported that Alex Murdaugh's grandfather had to be taken off the wall so that there wouldn't be bias in the courtroom. Okay, his attorneys are going back and forth with the prosecution. They're both going back and forth about the evidence and stuff. There's been some stuff that's been eliminated. Okay, and it's getting pretty dicey. There was also, I reported in the last update, that there were more indictments that came through. But the most interesting thing I saw, like, when we look at the Alex Murdaugh case, we know that there's a long history with this family directly related to Alex in regards to his children and him, in many deaths that have happened. There was a young boy that was friends with both his sons that was found on the side of the road by the last name of Smith. That nobody knew what happened to him. This was a few years ago, quite a few years ago. There was the boating accident. Okay. And that there was the boating accident. There was the housekeeper. Okay. And that one was part of the financial things because he actually worked with the family, and he worked with the families to get a larger settlement for the family, because she actually apparently she fell down some stairs or something at his home working for him, and he actually acted as their attorney. They got a settlement. He then kept all the money. He didn't give it to them. They won that lawsuit. Okay, the family did sue Murdaugh for that in the practice, and those indictments, and that actually did get settled, and there's a settlement on record. And remember, they started the foundation in the mother's name. The children did, with the money that they did get. Not that replaces their mother, but at least they did get some form of justice there. I'm sure they're wanting more to happen to Alex Murdaugh. There are plenty of people he stole money from in this way, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Back and back, he had a terrible drug habit at one time. He actually paid one of his accomplice in the drug scheme of things when he was selling drugs and doing drugs, to come and shoot him in the head, so that they would have more sympathy towards him, towards an indictment that was coming out. I mean, it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. There are people, everyone involved with him, as far as banking and investment and deals, is all facing indictments. Okay, and if you just put in his name, you're going to find people linked to him all over the world that are facing all kinds of charges and trying to clear their name. And it's just a mess. It's an absolute mess. He has over 100 charges on him. Okay, all of these indictments, and most of them are financial. Okay, well, the reason I mentioned that first settlement is because all of a sudden we have a second one. Um, in the boating accident, okay, which happened in 2019, both of his sons were on that boat, but Mallory Beach had died from a boat crash. It was what they're calling, and I'll put it in quotes because there hasn't been a real trial about it yet. She died in apparently booze-fueled boating trip in South Carolina. In the Murdaugh family boat, okay, in 2019. Okay, the family of Mallory Beach, who was 19 at the time and died in that fatal crash, uh, belonging to the Murdaugh family, they've reached a settlement with two members of the Murdaugh family. The Beach family this Tuesday settled with Buster Murdaugh, the older son of Alex Murdaugh, who's now 26. He's the only living son of this disgraced Carolina's lawyer, Alex Murdaugh, and also the estate of Alex Murdaugh's deceased wife, Maggie Murdaugh. These people were all named in the suit, okay? The son and Maggie Murdaugh. Alex Murdaugh is accused of murdering both Maggie and his younger son, Paul, who was 22 in June of 2021. The statement from the Beach family attorney Mark Brandon Tinsley said, the Beach family feels very strongly that whatever their faults were, Paul and Maggie didn't deserve what happened to them. They also feel Buster has suffered enough, so it was important to them to try and get him out of the case. Now, the case is still going forward against Murdaugh. The two remaining defendants in the case are Alex Murdaugh and Parker's Kitchen, a convenience store where Paul Murdaugh, who was at the time underage, is believed to have purchased alcohol for the excursion that all of them abided in. The settlement was yet to be finalized, but a hearing will be held on the 19th, just a couple of days from now, to discuss the agreement. Okay. The other thing, oh boy. Paul, okay, had used a credit card belonging to his mother, Maggie, at that store, and an ID belonging to his older brother, Buster, to illegally purchase alcohol while underage, okay, from that convenience store owned by Parker's Corporation earlier in the day of the boating accident. The boat Paul Murdaugh was driving that evening belonged partially to Maggie and partially to Alex. This is why everyone was named. Renee Beach, who is Mallory's mother, in a personal representative of her deceased daughter's estate, along with co-receivers Alex Murdaugh and John Murdaugh, will receive a $275 settlement from the sale of the Murdaugh's family's home for $4 million. Okay, in Hampton and Colleton counties. Buster Murdaugh will receive $530,000 from his mother's estate once the property is sold, and attorney fees will also be settled. Okay, so their home is being sold, and they're just saying that this settlement, it's got to be signed off by the judge, but it looks like all parties are actually in agreement, and I'm going to be able to link this for you later down below so that you can read it for yourself if you're interested in that kind of stuff. Okay, but there's been long speculation as to the reason that Alex Murdaugh is still being listed in the case is because when the police were investigating, that perhaps he knew that Paul was underage and driving, and so like Buster was, they were going back and forth on Buster saying he was driving or this one was driving. There was a lot of contention. Alex Murdaugh was quite in it, talking to everybody involved. He was the lawyer. People respected him. He was giving advice, so to speak, on it. And it seems like it may not have been the best for all of the parties involved. Okay. There's also rumor and speculation, and I'm not going to put any credence to it, but that one of the reasons that the murder of Maggie and Paul happened but Paul was about to be indicted for the murder of Mallory Beach, like for that accident. He was about to be named as the driver and put to. They were considering charges. Okay, now since he passed, no charges were made, obviously. In Alex Murdaugh was in a unique position amongst the community, how he was well respected as a lawyer. His family, I should say, was very well respected in the area politically and through lawyers, many of lawyer partnerships. Okay, that he would have had great relations with all of the police departments and the court system and stuff, and he would know what was going on. And it could be the panic in trying to keep everything from coming to a head that led to the murders. This is part, I want to see if this is going to be added in as part of the motive or not. It's been stated in writing in several articles, but it's not coming from the prosecution. I'll tell you that it is not coming definitely from the prosecution. Is what they believe is part of the motive for him to commit these crimes. Okay, he's still got plenty of financial crimes, even if they do end up delaying or doing anything in regards to this murder trial. That murder trial is scheduled to in a couple of weeks. End of story. The settlement is scheduled to be finalized by the end of this week on the 19th. I think that's Thursday. Yeah. Yeah, Thursday. So we'll be able to let you know if that went through, but it doesn't look like there's any resistance from any of the parties involved. Okay, they have the money from the sale of the house. They do not want to prosecute Buster anymore. He lost his mother and his brother, and they do believe his brother was the one who was driving and he was underage, and they just don't want to persecute him anymore for it. Okay, he will get some part of the settlement as long, this is awful complicated. We can't just take everything that Alex Murdaugh owns and hold it aside for all the financial crimes and everything, because he has an estate. He has a son, an oldest son. He also owned everything with his wife, and he, cleverly people put things in names differently here, there, and there. So with Maggie being deceased and everything going to her children who are alive, okay, it gets messy on how all this. So I'm glad they had some kind of settlement where the family of Mallory Beach does get to have some type of settlement. Money does not replace the life of your 19-year-old daughter, a beautiful young girl, way too young. It was a tragedy, but just to be able to settle it and feel like they're not actually going to have to bear this burden too much further into the future. Of course, they want to see, Alex Murdaugh brought to justice if he had anything to do with the skewing of the facts or who came forward or how things were done, or encouraging anything that happened, to keep the drinking aside and all of that. Parkers will be held responsible for selling alcohol to a minor, even with fake ID. I mean, you do follow the process, but when things like this happen, that's why they carry the insurance. I mean, there's probably going to be a settlement on that end, I would think anyway. With that, I think that might be the right thing to do. It is a tragedy, but we'll see. I mean, they are protected in some way. They didn't cause the accident. They didn't make them drink. I get that. But the law does allow for the suit of them in this case, because it is illegal to sell alcohol beverages to anyone under that age. And if they do commit an act against the law while under that influence, you are contributory. There's going to be some blowback, definitely. I kind of feel for everybody else on the fringes of these cases. This Murdaugh thing's going to be going on for a really long time. Once the murder trial happens, and we get to see the evidence, you know, Alex Murdaugh has a very good lawyer. He's got Colleton, very politically connected or very high powered attorney, has already dismantled quite a bit of the evidence through no fault of the prosecution himself. Well, the CSI, certain chemicals they used, they got their testing and they got their results, but the law states that the defense is also allowed to do the same. And the condition of the evidence of the things that were tested, shirts and blood splatter and things like that, are in no condition to be retested by the defense or to be contested with a separate expert running their own tests. That's a problem legally. We have to be fair to both sides. I know sitting here as a layperson, you and I may say that's ridiculous. If they say it was blood, it's blood, and then the test says it's this person's blood. But the defense is allowed to challenge it, and if the evidence is in not a condition that it was when it was tested or able to be tested again, they're not able to challenge it the way they could. That's a problem, and Harpulliton's using all of this. Okay, it's quite interesting. I'm going to check the chat for some more questions, and then I think that kind of brings you guys up to date on all three of them. Okay. All right. I don't see any questions. So on that, I'm just going to say thank you for listening. I appreciate you guys being here on a Monday. Mondays are tough for me, and you guys make it a little bit better. Thanks for tolerating all the technical difficulties in my rant about being responsible in our beliefs and rumors and speculation. Hey, I know it's a little soapboxy, but hey, I absolutely believe it. Like, let's look at the facts and evidence. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a paralegal, but that doesn't mean I can't have great respect for the process, and I do. And that's how I'm going to do it here, and I hope you'll all do it with me. And I have a couple of more updates coming out this week, and I'll see you soon.